Hello everyone, this is Joe, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to continue our playthrough of Shapez 2. Last episode we started doing some automation in our factory. As you can see the big complicated machine here. Not that it's very useful, but it has the right concept. We were completing the milestone to unlock trains, and today it's ready to be unlocked. So in this episode it's going to be mostly playing with trains, as well as having fun with some automation again. So let's unlock trains. In this episode, I'm going to show how everything train related works. So let's begin. It's time for trains. Place 10 rails. Let's look quickly at least to what we will want to do. See here, this is this exact shape we need for this, except different color. So I'll start our rail here. Alright, let's start by laying down 10 rail section. Place a locomotive, follow what it says to do. So we're going to set up our locomotive, and then the wagon. I'm adding a train stop. Oh, this train is having fun. Alright, so I've placed the stop here to stop the train. I'm going to do a shape loader here. Oh, there's the different levels, okay. Great, now place another train stop, including an unloader to unload the train. And I'm gonna bring this here to paint this here just for fun. Switch it to unloading. Well, I guess we just have to load up the train and send the shapes here. Seems like the trains work by level, so our 4 belts are going to the bottom layer. I'm wondering what happens if you try to throw a different type of shape. Let's go do that right now. And I don't want to mix them up, so I'll send that to the second floor, but it's not going to be the same thing. Let's test like this first. Alright, the new shapes are arriving. And you can see the shape blinking on the second level. Probably mean that it's being replaced as soon as a new shape get there. That's nice, that's our big package getting ready. I want to remove half of the shape just to confirm, but now you can see that it's accumulating correctly. Alright, I'm going to complete the track and we'll go finish the shape. And we should see it offload here. Alright, here's our big package coming. Okay, pretty cool. It's different, I like it. And I guess the bar on the left is what's left in the package. As for the rest of the shape, it's pretty standard, so I'm gonna go pump some green paint. I'm gonna paint our shape. Okay, we just need to paint it, nothing special. I'm gonna make it excessive a little bit. And once we've done the basic, I'll go look at all the new tasks and milestones we have to work on. This is a case where you can use the advantage of the pipe throughput and link everything in one pipe. I'm going to create another train to send the shape to the vortex. I've put a train stop, now I'm adding the loader. Alright, this is loading correctly in the bottom level. And we want to send this back to our vortex here. Does rail not cost any platform? Oh, they don't. Oh, that's a good saving. Okay. That really becomes your main way of moving things around. For now, I'm going to keep this simple. But things that comes from the train will go on the second level. Alright, let's pay for that upgrade to have more belts here. Not fully needed yet, but I want this to read better, so. Alright. Oh, we have our first train automation. That's pretty good. And I really wanted to show that from what I was assuming, this would make automating much larger factory much better, because it's much easier to get that throughput. Imagine if we had to fill 4 belts all over the place from over there. That would have took forever. Alright, now that we know how trains work, at least at the basic level, let's go check to see what we have unlocked for this milestone. I'm going to pin the new task. This is interesting, we're making a robot face here. Okay, those shapes are pretty cool. I guess there's no limit how much you can pin, you just don't see them after. Okay, let's look at the upgrades. Oh, we need to unlock 3rd floor if you want to unlock global wire transmission, which could be interesting. D-string, I guess, will be interesting once we get the larger factory using that. A filler wagon? Okay. Train vortex delivery. Oh, that looks awesome. Oh, and a fluid wagon. I assume we could send that in the wagon already, but this is going to be an interesting one to unlock. And we should work on some of these ones on the left. Oh, train speed. It's already going fast, so that's good. So yeah, a lot of good upgrades. As for our operator level, we started accumulating some of that other shapes that we were building, so that's good. And if we look at our milestone, our next one will be color mixing. That was already in Shapes 1, but it's always fun because it complexifies a little bit the patterns for liquid. And finally, let's look at our new milestone shapes. So we will be stacking more and more things on top of each other, but nothing else. As for this one... Oh, I see. This is the one that goes in the middle. Alright, so these shapes are pretty simple. But I do want to get some of the upgrades, so I'm going to go do some of the tasks first. Looking around for a good place to start that first blue shape in the task. I have a lot of good options, but I can't see this exact shape, but it doesn't matter. We have a good thing here. You can use this part with a full square and we'll have this thing here. Okay, well, we still have a good amount of square here that are unused, so instead I'll do it here. And we'll put some of that blue paint here. Let's look at the different shapes for this task. Similar shape but with a circle on top. Again, everything stays the same, there's no surprises. I got burned last episode, being extra careful now. Yeah, everything seems to be... Oh no, see here, this is different. The color changes as it goes. These colors are inverted. There's always a catch somewhere. Let's concentrate on the first one. Alright, let's do this. Huh, you can do that directly in it. Alright, just learned something. Need to make it a bit longer. I'm gonna get these shapes here as well and we'll build it here. So 2 wagons. Alright, it should stop. Load this when it's full. And go all the way here. Alright. Now that we have trains, I'm gonna try to do everything 4 belts at a time. Scale this up like crazy. Okay, we can just put our loading platform here. So that should load the first wagon. We were loading the second one. And we'll unload everything here. So I added a platform on the left, and this is where I'm going to create my 3/4 square. And last step as usual, just need to stack it. And we just want to paint all of this blue. Okay. And just need to bring our shapes. And there we go. Exit will be on the left. And this is how you scale up your factory with trains. Definitely gonna refactor everything for trains. But for now... Oh, I see why the routing will be important. You could have multiple trains offloading in the same place. I'm trying to find an entry point to our vortex. The left side is pretty busy. I hope that's not useful. Oh, it is. This is taking a lot of loading space. Well, I want to clear this so that we can send our trains here. My train will come here and go by this potential half circle and empty here. That's what I'm gonna do. So instead of using this to create half circles for our shape, which again I'll move later, but I'm going to transform this into an unloading station. Let's create the half circles here. And I just need to rotate it in the right direction. We're good to go. And this is the train that will get our blue shapes to our vortex. So that will be the first wagon. The second one, I'll send those half circles. Gonna do a small jump here. Okay. And this is the half circle stop. And I said we would send that here. Made some kind of unloading platform for now. I'll deal with this after. It's not gonna be a simple route. And the game is pretty smart to help us. Okay, why isn't the train coming though? I guess the game cannot read in our mind. Can't turn that quickly. I'm gonna lower the belt instead. Oh, adjust range. Nice. Okay. Here comes the train. Yeah, it cannot make it around it. Oh, because it's too close from that belt, I think. Good thing there's an easy fix. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if our half circles are filling. Oh, jeez, this is way too slow. Fine, I'll do multiple. This is not last anyway. We want to redo that shape at some point. Alright, the shapes are coming in. I need to use copy-paste more for that sort of thing. Again, here this is bad, but I'm just replicating what we had until we change it. But our bottom shape should be good to go. Okay, I just realized you have a little issue here, and it's simply because of this. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, next I'm gonna do this shape here. From a progression perspective, the shapes themselves are pretty simple, but the colors of the shape changes as we progress. So the important part here is not necessarily the shapes themselves, but making sure that we assemble them after we paint them regardless of the state they are. For this, I'm going to start more in a final approach to our factory. The target of our factory is really to have everything being done by itself. People call that a make anything machine. I don't know if we're going to get to that point, but the important part is really to have as much automation as we can. So for this, I'm going to start by kind of processing the raw material here to create the shapes that we want. Probably based on this or this one here to get some of the shape we need. And then we're going to transform it, paint it more into a final product before sending it and distributing it in other places. So I'm going to start by processing the raw material into some usable shapes. We have a lot to work with here. The first thing we want to do is to split them by the different types. We have two approaches to this. We could either form a shape of 4 of them and then do what we need with it, or work with quarters. I think in the end, working with quarters is a bit simpler because you can assemble any shape that you want. But if you work with full shapes, then you can paint them 4 times as fast. For now, I'll create complete shapes as much as I can. This is going to be our working area. As usual, I'm going to make this as modular as possible. Before forming these shapes automatically, I'm going to do an example of doing the shapes manually. If we do this manually, we can just look at this and combine the shapes that are the same. And the last level. And that would give us our complete shape. But it does mean we have to do this manually every time and think about it. So let's work on something better. I'm gonna keep this for later. Let's start with our usual machine like this. We have the quarters. Alright, so now what I'd like to do would be to form a complete shape of these 3 different shapes we have there, but without having to do it manually. Our shape cut in pieces, I'm going to align them to the top right. I'm not going to use this in this scenario, but there is an operation called a shape analyzer that is based on the northeast part of the piece, which means whatever we do, it's probably better if we have only a quarter to use the northeast piece. I'll show an example here. See here, since the shape is in the top left, it cannot read it. But let's say we plug ourselves to this one here. It can read the shape in the top right. It's going to be useful when we want to recombine shapes. So currently it's not going to be useful to us, but I want to take the right habit of using the top right corner. Let's assume we want to take this shape here. It's still possible with this simulated building. So let me put the belt reader again. A little display to see what's being read. Instead, what we can do, we can rotate it. So this is a simulated rotation. And you can see now it can read the color and the shape. I'm not going to use any of the simulated building here, but we'll use that at some point. Let's do this. So next step, to combine them together, I will need to determine which is this shape here. If it is the right shape, I'm going to send it to a machine, stack on top of each other. For the stacking part, it's pretty simple. I'm splitting the shape in 4 different belts, and I'm rotating it so that it ends up at the right position. I'm going to send a few of these just so you can see it. By the way, as you'll see here, the game always let items go first before pushing it. This is going to be important for this little part here. Hey, as you can see, we have our first shape combined. This is too manual. Let's delete this. So what we want to do is to be able to look at what is the content of this belt here. So for this, I'm going to put a belt reader here. And on this side, I'm going to put a belt filter. I'm going to connect it with wires. I'll put a trash here at first. The first shape will go here, and that will get stuck in the belt here. I'm using this so that I can always read the same symbol. And then the second shape will go here. If it is the same one, I want to send it to our machine to be combined. Otherwise, currently I'm trashing it, but I'm going to send it to the next station. In fact, I'm going to do the first one right here. So we just have to replicate this. I'm going to repeat this 4 times. I'll put 2 here. Alright, that should be our 4 shapes. We just need to put all the belts that are missing. Alright, I'm just going to join all the belts together. And we'll let it go through. The first one will go straight, and that'll become our filter. You can start seeing the other shapes going on the left side. The circle and square will continue this way. The circle will become the new filter here. There's always going to be a couple that get stuck. It's just how this works. And we should be able to apply this pattern to any shapes. I'm going to test what we've done with this here. There's no reason just to do it. And we'll let that run, we'll see what happens, we'll come back to this later. Yeah, we've got our square. There's nothing here, this is normal. Our circle is being produced, alright. Now we have a pattern to create shapes, but it's really slow. Next step, I'm going to create the same pattern, but at least we're going to use the full belt speed. This is going to get much more complicated, you'll see. All right, let's start our final machine now. This time we're going to use the full capacity of our belt. We want to join all the same shape together. Alright, this is not the smallest pattern I've done so far. We should have 4 belts going at max capacity. I'm going to work on this pattern a little bit, then I'm going to show the final pattern, and then I'm going to give the explanations. So here we split our shapes in 4 quarters. Don't be afraid of all what you see here, I'm going to explain it afterwards. But the main idea is that we split the shape onto the 4 different platforms, and if it matches, like an example here, I'm going to also send it to that machine to be combined. And as we go further and further, there's less belts, because we have 3 left. This one doesn't have anything, because the shape is the same in the one below. And then here, the square that's being made is with the last 2 belts. And finally, if there's a shape left in the last position, we send it here, and we just trash if there's any extra. Which should never really happen, but just in case. So, let's get on with the explanations. If you just look at it quickly, it looks like a lot of wires, belts, and it might not be easy to guess what's happening exactly. So, I'm going to create another quick platform, and I'll try to explain a little bit how this works and why I'm doing this weird contraption here. In this case, we have a shape with 2 different symbols, which means that in the end we will want to build 2 full shapes from this. In the case that there's multiple belts of the same symbol, I want them to go in the same area. And in the case that the belt is empty, like the second one here, I would expect this zone to be empty. Similar to our example with only 1 belt, the first thing I do is that I'm creating a belt reader that will determine what shape goes into this belt. And then I want to send the shape that matches this belt on the side to be merged. And then I'm going to reuse this logic here to do the same thing with the other belts so that they can all go in the direction that I want them to go. That means that I need a belt filter. And I'm going to reuse the same filter in this one. If it's the right shape, I want to send it in this direction. I'm going to repeat the same thing for this belt here. In this case, since the shape matches, we want it to go forward. And the same thing for the last belt. So this is the basic of the logic. And here we do our thing, which we have here. And here we just merge all the shape together. Now what do we do when it doesn't match? We go to the next area here. So I'm going to copy the same logic we had here. And let me connect the wires. In here you can see that we do have an issue because this signal is empty. That means we need something that says if this is empty, then send a 0 signal so at least the shape can continue to the next area. This is a little example I built to determine the solution, but I'm going to show you with the example that we have instead over there. I'm going to need to build it on the second floor so that it's a bit more legible. So we still want to take the signal from here, which is empty. And I'll put our display here. I'm going to use a logic gate I haven't used yet in my videos. This is a special operator because it can send something else than a 1 or 0. In this case, if the top side wire is true, it will send the value that comes from the left side. So this gate will be used to send the value of the shape if the shape is not empty. So I'm going to add a comparison. This is where it gets a little bit complicated, but I'll try to explain. Currently here it would try to send the empty signal because we have it on equal, so I'm going to put it to not equal. And here it's the same then if I put a signal producer and I do a null here. So if it is not equal to null, go ahead and send that signal. Otherwise, nothing happens. So we're going to take this wire here and we're going to say we want the opposite. So in the case that this is false, then it will be true. We're going to do another gate. This one is true currently. We're going to say if the signal is effectively empty, please send the value 0. So if we put the display here now, it's equal to 0. Before we had this, it's empty. Now what happens if we send the shape? Let me show you. Alright, in the case that we have a shape, this contains the value of the shape code, which means that it is not equal to null, which means that we're sending true, which means that we're going to send the same signal that was going true, which is our shape. So in this case, if the shape matches what is in here, this one will continue forward. Let me connect the rest here and you'll see. In this case, since the shape we want is the little spiky thing, it would go forward. That means that we would need this test here as well, because what if this first shape is empty? Then we want everything else to go forward. I hope you understand a little bit more why I built this little contraption here. And if you don't understand, it's probably my fault. Let's go back to our current platform we just built. Okay, I'm going to save this as one big pattern. Split and merge, save that to our platform. Let's go back to where we want to actually do some shapes. So we want to use these here. And we could use the square, and we need some spikes. For spikes, we have all the ones we want here. Gonna load up the train here. I'm gonna make the train slightly longer to make sure we have enough to transport all our shapes. And in fact, we just need 2 for now. We'll just do it on 2 levels. And we only care about these 2 shapes. And we want to combine this with our little spiky thing here. So we'll do the assembly here. We could go pick some up here too. So that's gonna be in the first wagon. Here comes our train. 2 left to loop a little bit before it's ready, but it's gonna get there. We could accelerate loading by doing multiple copies of this. And now we just need to connect these 2 together. There we go. Alright, so let's combine the shape and send it to our vortex. Should be pretty simple. Let's stack those 2 together. We'll do the same thing with the square here. I'll assemble it here instead. Alright, unless I did something stupid, that should be working fine. It's not reusable, but I don't care at this point. Now let's make a train and send that to our vortex. In fact, I'm gonna unlock the green train. There's a reason for that, and you'll see it very soon. So I'm gonna use the green train. 1 wagon is enough for now. I'm loading it on the 2nd level because I want to reuse what we have near the vortex. I'm gonna do the rail all the way here. Here we're gonna join the existing train line. I think I don't need to do anything for the train to go back in the same track. Anyway, it's the usefulness of having 2 colors as well, because like this, the green and the red goes in a separate direction. So this is why you might want to have multiple color train. And that means we can reuse the same loading station, and we're going to unload this in the 2nd level. Which I'm just realizing is not a good idea here, because there's no way to get to the vortex, but I'll manage something. I'll find some space. We need to change things a little bit here. Okay, so our other shape will come on the second level, like this. And here we're going to reuse these two belts. We're using the two in the middle. Oh, I'm on the second level here. Alright, and that should be the shape. I think it's a good place to stop this video. We started to improve our automation. We played a little bit with the trains. In the next video, I want to refactor our factory to use trains as much as possible, as well as probably another little trick to automating our factory a little bit more. I want to get through as many tasks as possible so we can start getting some of the upgrades. It wouldn't hurt to upgrade some of the speed or other capability we don't have, like the global wire transmission. Thanks everyone for watching, and as usual, have a great day.